Maybe we'll go with this. It's a bit brighter. Alrighty, a rematch of last Monday. I thought these guys had an excellent series, and I thought it'd be really fun to see a rematch. This time, obviously, with something on the line, because they were never going to win the Kalaris, Setfest, or Roddy Cup. But this series, they can win. 60 buckies if they win, 15 for the loser. I'll let them know. Ready when you are. I'll double check if I have the right overlay, but I think I do. Yep, Pro 2020. I'm good to go. Big Brain Bouts number 74. Thank you to Potting Dog as well for the 28 months. And of course, again, Demur for the 42 bucks, aka 50, I guess 50 USD, 42 euros. Is the euro that strong right now? Because 42 is a very odd number to send. Well, it's an even number, but euro to dollar. 109. I really like the days where the dollar was better than the euro. Even if that may not be... Oh, we are stuck. Never mind, we're not stuck. We are very laggy. Indy has left the game, so I guess something went wrong. They hosted the wrong game, I guess. What went wrong, my friends? Yeah, there was crazy lag. I noticed that too. Indy got dropped. Okay, well, no. I'm sure that tonight is going to be a lot smoother than last week. I'm not worried about it. Indy says I got dropped for the first time in a decade. It's fine. We just rehost. Indy is, of course, playing tonight as well. He's playing in the second series. I think it's going to be really fun. Indy deserved it. A couple of weeks ago, he had a really good run in one of the Monday tournaments. He's going to be playing against our very own DJ tonight. I'm sure the DJ is not very happy that the Neil patch went live today, because that one makes life even harder on him, but we'll figure it out. First, it's Gemini versus Anticore. Two lads from all things Protoss. Hello, SIG. Hoi allemaal. Hello, everyone. And I know there is F1 qualifying tonight, too. You guys are obviously allowed to talk about it. You guys are allowed to keep me updated, spoil it. I will not put it on, because I don't want to be too distracted. But I will watch it back afterwards. But feel free to keep me in the loop. Just keep it civil, please. Stay neutral. It's okay to cheer for your favorite driver, but don't put other drivers down. It goes too far. I don't like it. We are a happy place, a happy community. This time, nope. What the hell? What's wrong? Guys, we can't... I don't get it. I don't get it at all. So it seemed like okay, so because of the lag spike with Indy, once more we're gonna rehost. Man, this is maybe Indy's having severe internet issues. I don't get it. Yeah, when you are out, it's fine. Sure, go without mod. Gemini says he gets it. I don't really, one of you guys hosts. It's still gonna be smoother than last week, I am sure. Hi Roddy, my son 9-year-old would also love to play in the Big Brain Bouts and get some money. I understand that, and as much as I would love to invite him, mate, he has to be 16. But there is honestly a very good chance that 7 years from now, Roddy is still hanging in here on a Friday night talking about Starcraft 2. Taking a little break from Battle Aces and Deadlock. So, when he's 16, we'll give it another shot. How does that sound? I can't promise that Basilisk will allow me to do this for 7 more years, but we can make it happen. Just me for your son. No. Central is better. Actually, it's fine. It's west, west, central. Yeah, but KR prefers west. So west, central, coin. Thank you, PBR sponsored for the 20 months. The thought of BBBs going on for another 7 years strong makes me very happy. Can't promise that, guys. I can promise a lot of things, but I can't promise that. I can, however, promise that if there's still a very easy way to play StarCraft 7 years from now, there's a good chance that a 44-year-old Roddy that will get a visit of Jeremy and slowly falling every day to let me know that I'm 44 years old, is still gonna do some Starcraft. Alright, is the third time the charm? Because apparently we're having some issues loading into the game. Fuck off, Molten. Fuck off. Hello, Alex. Let me introduce the players and then I'll very briefly talk about it. Is the third time the charm or not? Nope. Man, it's just indie. And now it's actually everybody. What is happening? Okay, I'm no referee this time, but I think they are just going to... Maybe we should just play a game and then see if Indy can figure it out. But obviously we need Indy tonight because he's one of the players in the Big Brain Bouts. Yeah. I'm silenced. Yes, I think they should just play, but I can't communicate with them. I think the boys are just going to play and we'll let Indy sort it out by himself and hopefully it gets fixed by the time game 2, game 3, game 4, game 5 is live. Hopefully he can play. And this was supposed to be the easy night. I guess nothing is ever easy, but let's just do it.
Let's get it on.
Round 1, fight!
No. It's fine. For game 1 it's fine. Because it's already 21 minutes past. I think we should just play right now and hopefully give Indy some time to sort it out. Top right side of ley lines. We are looking at the main base of the man who was victorious earlier this week on the Monday. But he had to work hard for it. It was a very fun series. It is indeed the real GSL Protoss caster. That is Gemini. I like Gemini. I think he's a nice guy. I think he does good things for the community. Nothing bad to say about this man. In the bottom left side, we are looking at the main base of the third or fourth best player from Denmark. It's not quite Max Specs, it's not quite Spacey Macy, but he's a cool, fun Zerg. This is Anticore. Yeah, I'm sure that Indy can sort it out. Indy is a smart guy, and we'll get it sorted, hopefully. But yeah, it's very odd, because I know that Indy has already watched a whole bunch of games on the PTR, and there were no issues, but this time there is an issue. Maybe it's just that Polish internet. So earlier this week, guys, they played a best of 3 against each other on the Monday night. It was a really fun series. I wouldn't quite say it was the highlight of my night, because Max Specs 3-0 in Clem in a patch where it was quote-unquote unplayable, impossible, yada yada. I think that one will stay with me a little bit longer. But I did really like the show that these two put on, so I decided to make it happen one more time. This time with 75 bucks on the line. 60 for the winner, 15 for the loser. And we'll see. Hopefully we get some Hydra dashes. I would be a big fan of some more Hydra dash action of Anticore, but I also expect him to play a little more cutthroat. Last Monday he was trying to put on a show. This time I'm not expecting that of him. I'm expecting him to just play for the win. So we had Alex, one of the many Alexes in my channel, stop by saying, "So Roddy, what about that final Ajax game? Oh, last Wednesday, what a game, huh?" I would be complete and hypocritical liar if I said I wasn't bothered by it. I was really disappointed. It was just unexpected, very lackluster. It also felt that the atmosphere in the stadium was very just mellow. It didn't feel like a final at Ajax. It was a horrible game from us. Can't even say it was totally undeserved, even though I don't think Ajax played that great. It's just 2 big mistakes by the goalkeeper that led to 2 goals, and we couldn't do anything offensively. It's one of these games that I think it's just best to forget about it. On moments like this, I think of my friend Molten. He experiences this twice a week because Watford plays 84 games a year and they always disappoint him. And if after all these years Molten can still support Watford, I'm sure that I can get over this disappointment and still support Feyenoord. But yeah, it hurt. Not what I expected, not what I was hoping for, but it is what it is. You gotta move on. Gemini opens up with a Void Ray. Void Ray into Oracle. Ley Lines is a fun map, by the way. I have no issues with this map. The one thing that stands out a little bit is that you have a Rich Vespian Geyser here that is blocked by a mineral patch that has 150 minerals. So it takes a very long time to get rid of that. Other than that, it just feels like a good map to me. Tonight we are playing on the most updated version of the PTR. Last week we did PTR, tonight we do PTR. And obviously this version is a little bit different. I would say it's very Protoss friendly, but I did open Reddit, and Reddit is not satisfied yet. Reddit needs more. I think at this point, guys, what Reddit is looking for is that upgrade from GoldenEye, the Stalker with the golden gun. And that every single Stalker just one-shots every unit it sees. If we can make that happen, honestly, there's a chance we get a Protoss champ. But I don't think they're quite certain yet. Oracle obviously did have extra energy, but Spore Crawler is done. Spore Crawlers deal a lot of damage to Oracles. Ooh. Gemini is trying to meme. I think he tried to write skill, but he wrote skull instead. Alright, Gemini. Now that's a low IQ play, I believe. Try to write skill, write skill. It's all good. Anticore shows up with 4 Zerglings, picks off a probe, makes a couple of roaches. This might be a decent map to go for some roach queen aggression, but obviously that got nerfed as well because queens are more expensive. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's very tough to make a lot of strong predictions because A, these guys are not the ultimate pro gamers that, you know, we'll get to see eventually, of course. I would have loved to see Rainer play this week, guys, and Rainer would have been down. But Rainer is leaving us to go to London for the weekend to watch League of Legends. But maybe next week we can get some Rainer games going. When it comes to these two, I expect things to be somewhat similar to what we've seen in a couple of the games on Monday. And we'll see how much of an impact the changes that went live today have. Shout out to George W, shout out to Dincommon and then Dave as well. I appreciate all the love. The Adepts with Resonating Glaive are already here. Queen's first queen dies. How many roaches do we have? 10. By the way, I'd love to see Gemini use the Void Ray here. I actually think not bringing your Void Ray in Oracle is silly. He cancels the shade. Really wants to get a cancel on the hatch. We'll get it. That's a weird number, 207. I'm not used to that. Hatcheries are cheaper, but the delay is obviously a thing. And now all the roaches finally show up. And I think we're going to let this shade finish. We absolutely do. Yeah, pretty strong start, I think, by Gemini. Anticore might just go good old-fashioned roaches and hydras here. He might not go for the hive. First he needs to clean up these adepts, and these adepts are still going strong. A cancel on the 4th base, 8 drones dying, lost mining time, a queen dying. Imagine if the man would have just used his Void Ray, by the way. I think if you bring your Void Ray and your Oracle here the first time, then you wipe the floor with those few queens there are. And at this point there's like 1 or 0 queens left. Immortal count is 1. Second Immortal is coming out. There are a couple of stasis trappies here. Maybe the Zerglings can activate them. But the bigger problem is that Void Ray that obviously Gemini still has. He hasn't lost it. Now there are some Hydras in the mix. 8 of them. I mean, there is potential here for Anticore, guys. Anticore does have a pretty large army, but the stasis trappies are scary. Obviously, shield battery is always scary. Force fields can be scary. And we have no Ravages in the mix at all. I think Anticore is going to back off and just try to tack up to Hive, and we'll take the game from there. Wasted a lot of shots on the hatch. Yeah, but I do think that getting a cancel on the 4th base is massive in this matchup. To me, that's one of the most pivotal moments in my entire PvZ. Like the way that I play PvZ, which is obviously different than pro gamers do, focus and the emphasis is a lot around the 4th base of the Zerg. If I get a proper delay on that, if I get a kill on it, if I get a cancel, I'm happy. If I cannot do anything, then it doesn't really matter how many drones I kill, because they will always still be rich, because they can crank out drones from 4 hatcheries. So I didn't hate that part. I think that's fine, but now obviously we need to be careful. Gemini, I realized last Monday, does not like observers very much. And I find it a bit silly to play this matchup without any observers. Unless you play mass air, of course, then it's not that important, but he has an Oracle, and yeah, I guess we can spam Revelation a little bit more because of that little energy recharge thing that we have on our Nexus right now. Lurker then going down, Hive close to finishing up. Anticore supply looking alright. I'm not a fan of only 2 Ravages, by the way. I think you needed a few more Ravages, because the sentry count is still quite high, but Gemini doesn't have crazy amounts of energy. I'd still go with 4 or 5 Ravages, personally, myself. Couple Stalker. Ooh, that's a bit of a strange blink by Gemini, but the rest of the Stalkers are going to protect the initial squad. But, the DPS of Hydras is going to be a little bit higher than the DPS of a couple of these Blinky boys. Gemini's got Storm coming online. It's not quite here yet, but obviously the moment it's here, he can also use energy recharge on one of these High Templars. Get a bunch of Storms to work with immediately. Ravager can't still do. Anticore feels that this is a fight he can take, and perhaps he's right. With a superior concave, I think he's right. With the inferior concave, I don't think he's right. He also eats the Storm. Hydra Dash is on the way, baby. As Wadi hits us with the raid. Thank you so much, Wadi. I hope everybody had fun watching Wadi's Group B today. A couple surprising results in there, I saw. We are watching the first best of 5 of the night. $75 on the line for these two gamers. As a Storm lands in the middle of these Roaches and Hydras. Cybercore will get picked up. It's hard for me to say how I like this or for who I like it. Storm is excellent against Roaches and Hydras, but Anticore won't obviously work with this forever. There is a War Prism in the main base. Sorry, they hosted with without the mod. Trying to get the game to work for Indy. That didn't really work. This is definitely a bit of an issue. Anticore struggling, dealing with slow Zealots and a couple of adepts with Resonating Glaive. The Roaches have made their way over. The fight's still happening in the middle. Storm Immortals, Blink Stalker is a little bit too good against this army. MMR of these guys for a series of the night is around 5,200, give or take. 5,100, 5,200. Next series is already going to be a bit higher. The third series is even higher, and the last series is obviously the highest. These guys around 5k, but I think a little bit above 5k. I think of my average 5k player, and I think Anticore and Gemini are a little bit better than that. Not a whole lot. A little. Gemini kind of happy with what he has accomplished so far, and he has decided to go home for a bit. I am a tiny bit concerned for Gemini if Anticore gets a crazy amount of lurkers out. Immortals and High Templars can get the job done, but Showtime honestly is responsible for giving all of us the idea that we can just make a couple of Immortals and Archons and we A-move and we'll be fine. Unless your name is Showtime, most of the time lurkers are a little bit harder to deal with than just A-move. Yeah, the air transition is coming, but that's still going to take a long time. He's going to have to take a couple of good fights before those air units are out. That's not necessarily a bad thing if you're in position. Like, I think right now it's a battle of position. If Gemini has to run into Anticore, it's going to be hard, and he kind of has to right now. Do we have detection? Gemini, he's got one observer coming in from the left. Anticore, by the way, should always bring overseers with this kind of army. Gemini should Anticore should always bring overseers. Sniping the observer would be big. Gemini is gonna try to go for it, but the Immortals having a hard time getting in range. The Storms are massive, but the Lurkers are kind of hurting our boy. No GSL Coaster has been hurt by Lurkers like this since Arctosis in his most recent Brood War game. And he does get hurt a lot. I've seen it. He's not happy with it. Gemini has just kind of lost his entire army, guys, and I feel like we didn't even have a fight. We had a couple of Storms, but it's so hard to keep Stalkers alive, to make Stalkers efficient against Lurkers. We've got Tempest on the way, but I'm afraid for Gemini that this is all going to take a little bit too long. I think Anticore could make a couple Vipers. He hasn't really done it yet. Making good progress. Should really bring an Overseer, by the way. If he would have brought an Overseer, he would have killed that Observer 10 times over. Now the Tempests do show up, and the Hydra count is a little bit low in the front lines, but the reinforcements are arriving from the bottom right, from the bottom left. Hydras are underneath Tempest. Hydra Dash should be ready, by the way, right? Do we get to see Hydra Dash, baby? It got buffed. Oh my god, I'm about to probe meat grinder. 16 workers going down. I think Gemini is kind of down and out here in our very first game of the night. A game where a lot of things went very well, to be honest, for Gemini, but... Oh my god, what? That's big! That's so fast! What the hell? They've got jump! Hydra's got blink! The year is 2024 and Hydra's got blink! That was so quick! What the hell is even that? Ay caramba. I mean, yeah, you can say it's like Stim, but I think that's even more insane than Stim, to be completely fair. Look at these boys! Look at these Hydras. Ah, we can see it one more time. As Anticore, the Danish Zerg, takes the 1-0 lead in this best of 5, where $75 is on the line. They call it budget blink instead of dash. It looks honestly pretty good. Especially in these small moments, it looks pretty damn good. Our man Indy is gonna give it another shot. Unfortunately, guys, we had to rehost 3 times because Indy was having a bug on the PTR. And we hope it's fixed now. I think we were fine until we F2'd our whole army to the 4th for 5 roaches. Yeah, and then you mean that, and because of that he was out of position and the lurkers were able to siege up near the natural on the 3rd base and... Okay. Yes, I think up to that point, I would say he was absolutely in the lead. Maybe if you are battling roaches and hydras and you know that they're trying to buy time to get lurkers online, it's also okay to be a little bit more adventurous with stalkers, immortals, and storm. At that point, your army is stronger than his army, but it really is like a battle over positioning. If Anticore was forced to walk into immortals, stalkers, storms, and batteries, I think his army gets absolutely wiped. But I think he's able to burrow all the lurkers and he forces the Protoss to run into him. That's where the Protoss army melts. It's like haste chasing you down. Ah, guys. Indy had an issue. Apparently, Indy, his BattleNet update did not work. So, it should work right now. And hopefully, Indy can just enjoy a night of games. And obviously, play a couple games as well. Because he is in our 2nd series of the night. Thank you to one of the many great Alexes we have in this channel for gifting a subby to Joey. It is a 1-0 lead for a Danish Zerg as we load into game 2.
Round 2. Fight!
Merry Christmas, Phil's birthday, man. We don't quite have the Christmas decorations yet, but Vicky and I went to Intratown today. Vicky calls it Intratown because he doesn't know how to say town. And I think Intratown sounds awesome. It's basically a big place where you can buy crazy amounts of Christmas decorations and also other stuff for your backyard, front yard. Just anything related to yards, they have there. And I got a little Ferris wheel. It's early, but the Christmas tree is going to come early as well, guys. I need some Christmas vibes in my life anyway. Round 2. Bottom right side. Played a strong game, but he's down 0-1. He was down 0-1 last Monday as well, though. It is our American Protoss living over in South Korea. This is Gemini. Fighting for the all things Protoss. This man is a Zerg, but he's also, I think, a pretty active member within the All Things Protoss community. Taking the 1-0 lead, our Danish Zergi, Anticore. Last year, Roddy kept it 3 till half of 2024. I don't think I kept it that long, but I did have it Omega early last year. I am guilty of that. I will never deny that part. I don't know how early it was last year, but I remember that the Muslim was also bullying me over it, and chat was going wild. It was up in September. Yeah, it was very early. It may have been up in definitely October, but yeah, probably like early October. But I didn't keep it mega long until Christmas was over. I think in the first week after New Year's, I got rid of it on like the 5th or 6th of January. Okay, that's pretty reasonable, I think. We have a fake tree, yeah, so I can keep it for as long as I want. Jeez, what the hell is that? What am I looking at? Is that a stone ass? I don't know what that is. Not very often am I going to be lost for words, but I'm kind of lost for words right now. I definitely know that it's not your ass, Lethal. Because your ass is so big, it doesn't even look like an ass anymore. If you take a picture of a wall, then I kind of believe that it's yours, but that's not yours, mate. Hey, that's how we earn a bucky tonight. We'll take it. Tonight's been sick already. Gemini is not going to go for the Stargate, guys. First game we went straight into Stargate was a Void Ray into Oracle, into then Resonating Glaive Adept, which, yeah, I kind of like. I'm a fan of these builds. Gemini definitely did not lose because his opening was not strong enough. I think he got himself in a very good position. He just kind of lost it when he left the doors open for those lurkers to burrow in a very bad spot for him. I'll get a Padel stream soon going again, and then you guys can judge mine. But we'll probably do that on our 2nd channel. Revive it from the death. Roddy was so shocked that the guy didn't even get a timeout. I mean, your message has to be really weird. Your emote has to be omega weird for A, to be approved by Twitch, and B, for me to time you out after you give me $1. Like, I've never seen an emote that annoyed me so much that I timed anybody out for it when I got $1 for it, so. What should you do when lurkers are between your natural and your third? That's obviously difficult. I think there is a world where Gemini could have taken a much better fight. We can't ignore the fact that he had no Archons at all. He also really came in very clumped up from the left side. And his Stalkers are kind of chunky boys, so his Stalkers block the Immortals. Obviously, there's a lot of things he could have done different there. A, he could indeed focus on the counterattack. B, he could make units come in from the bottom left. C, he can try to let his Immortals lead the charge rather than the Stalkers that can then obliterate it immediately. And at least don't block the Immortals. So there's a lot of things that we could have done better. Every fight is different. You can't just look at one fight and always say like, oh, in this situation you should always do X, Y, and Z. Very often there are multiple correct things you can do. I like having disruptors against lurkers, but the best Protosses out there don't rely on disruptors against lurkers. They rely on Archons, Immortals, Storms, and Gemini had all of that. Spore Crawler is not quite done yet. Anticore is gonna try to surround it like Nurcho in his glory days. Hey, Anticore, look at that, guys. That's a save, baby. Very well done, honestly. He bought himself a couple of very valuable seconds there. And that is one hell of a play. And very, very well done. The man may not be known as one of the best Zergies in the world, but that was a very sexy play and potentially a game-saving play. Because if that Spore Crawler dies, yeah, then you're gonna lose a bunch of drones, maybe even the hatch. 3 DTs kill a hatchery very quick. So, incredibly big save there by Anticore. A beautiful surround on his own Spore Crawler with the queens, with the links. Kudos. Gemini could warp in one more DT if he stops the supply blocking himself. We are waiting. Checking. We are checking. Now we can warp in one more DT. And we can get not one, but 2 Archons. And we can go for a little bit of Archon arrest. Queen count lower. Should be at least than in the previous patch, but Spore Crawlers are better. There is a Spore per base. We'll see what Gemini can get done. Can he drop it? No. Lurkers are a bit of a mystery unit. Because in a way they are similar to maybe Liberators or a bunch of Disruptors that are protected. Running into them is incredibly hard, but if they have to be the ones that have to engage, I feel like they're not that intimidating. It is a battle of positioning. People often forget about the strategy part in Starcraft 2. But yes, it's not all about mechanics. Mechanics is maybe getting it into place, but the strategy can also be prevent lurkers from getting into certain scenarios where they are going to be a very big problem. They don't have to be an issue. Lurkers can be omega strong, they can also be a little bit underwhelming. If you guys ever watch Raynor play Protoss, you'll see him have all the fun in the world every single time he goes up against lurkers. That man will A-move into everything, because Raynor, his engagements are very good, and he can make the unit look very silly. Again, there is no Observer in the mix for Gemini, but there is a very powerful army. This is a bit of a Drogo push from the old days, and I do like it, and they've always been powerful. 4 Archons, 2 Immortals, a couple of Sentries. We are not even 7 minutes into the game, guys. This is giving me serious Petite Drogo flashbacks. Anticore is in a bit of trouble. We are trying to get a couple of extra Hydras out. These Ravagers are very important, but they are so exposed. Now, maybe here the damage is good enough. There is no detection on this base, so 1DT in the back is actually getting a lot of big swipes off. But in the end, all the Roaches and Hydras do get on top of just 3 Archons. Gemini went a little bit deep there, and because he had no detection... Oh my goodness. Gemini. I mean, the damage he's done is absolutely fantastic. But he is donating a crazy amount of army supply. Is it worth it? It is obviously absolutely worth it as long as he doesn't die in the next minute. I think there was even more potential there. Not often do you look at a Protoss attack where they kill 34 drones and a base and you're like, yeah, I think he could have done more. That sounds silly, but I think he could have done more. He could have straight up won the game. It seems like Anticore does not have the confidence to attack with whatever is left, and In that way, Gemini is of course going to be completely fine. He can rebuild the Archons that he has lost. The man is sitting on 62 workers. He's got 1,000 minerals in the back as well. I'm not saying that he is not ahead, guys. I am saying that like there is a difference between actually winning or you've basically won. I think at this point Gemini is very far ahead, but he hasn't won yet. And that is not as good as actually just getting the GG and loading into game 3. I'm not arguing with any of y'all that Gemini is in a really good spot. I'm not crazy. Roaches and Hydras have not hurt me that much. I know that this looks incredibly good for the Protoss, but instead of it looking incredibly good, we could have been talking about a tied up series. We are not quite there yet. How good are lair tag lurkers, guys? How good are lair tag lurkers? Like if Gemini loses a War Prism with 4 DTs inside of it, and then he's out of position, or once more doesn't get an observer. Like I don't understand, guys. Why does this man not like observers? He made one and he lost it. I think observers are actually the goated Protoss unit. There is no unit that I enjoy using more than the observer. +1 is on the way, second forge gets warped in, but now that hive is halfway done. And the longer this game kind of goes on, the more that Anticore can obviously recover from all that terrible, terrible damage that he took earlier. And the more that you guys that are telling me the game is over are starting to probably slowly backpedal. You're like, you know what, maybe it's not totally over yet. The thing is, we are not even disagreeing with each other, guys. I was in agreement too that the game looked very good for Gemini, and it still does. I mean, the man's got 8 Immortals. I think this is a Showtime amount of Immortals, a Raynor Protoss amount of Immortals that should absolutely be able to move into a couple of Lurkers. It is, however, important that we make sure we always have detection if we attack into Lurkers. And I would love to see a tiny bit of multitasking, maybe like a War Prism into the main base. The longer this goes on though, the more likely it is that Anticore has an army that can actually deal with Gemini's army. Gemini is also going to already drop a Stargate, the just in case kind of Stargate. But make no mistake, our American Protoss, our GSO Kodas caster wants to win this game here with this attack. Sees the Lurkers, is he intimidated by them, yes or no? Okay, I love the War Prism in the main, by the way. Great. Oh, he lost the Observer! No! No! We lost the ups! We lost the ups! Ay caramba. And the game goes on. And the possibilities for Anticore to make a pretty remarkable comeback are getting bigger and bigger. Alright, now we've got 3 observers. Get observer speed, by the way. He doesn't have a Robo-Bear right there. That's a shame. War Prism in the main base. I get sniped by a couple of Hydras. Great job by Anticore, guys. Anticipating that play. There is a big Protoss army getting a cancel on the hatchery in the top right side. Couple roaches. Look at this. A little 7 roach counterattack. Just click on the Nexus right now. Don't fight Zealots, mate. I actually think if he would have clicked on the Nexus, maybe he would have been able to get it. Man, this is getting scary. Because 7 Lurkers is about to become 20 Lurkers. And don't get me wrong, this is the kind of army that can defeat 20 Lurkers if you have great upgrades. And right now the upgrades are questionable. I don't like it anymore for Gemini. I think maybe at this point the the game plan for Gemini should be get 5 bases, get 6 bases, get cybernetics core upgrades. Okay, the new unabductable mothership. I'm sure that's a great play too. But whatever you do, make damn certain that A, you get air units out, and B, that this man does not go up to 5 bases. Left a couple of Lurkers behind. These 3 Lurkers are going to get picked off. Gemini with his Protoss army. Are we going to recall? I don't know about recalling into this many Lurkers. Gemini for now goes for the counterattack. Says you can take one of my bases, I'll take one of yours. This is great, by the way, when you're the one building air units and your opponent has no answer for your air units. Anticore is already going to get into the natural, though. That is the cybernetics core with +1 air weapons that is going to get denied. Uh-oh. We have Zalot's going to town on a hatch and a bunch of drones at the top right side. These two guys are gaming. It is Lurkers, a couple of Hydras and Roaches in the main base of the Protoss. And we have a silly amount of Archons, a silly amount of Immortals attacking the Zerg on the other side of the map. Perhaps a good old-fashioned base trade here. What about some DTs? Anticore has no detection, guys. Gemini, defensive DTs would be insane here. A couple of defensive DTs would absolutely be insane. Careful with your observers for the love of everything. Observer count, guys, still at 3. Observer count at 2. I was very close to saying observer count at 1. Mothership indeed got denied as well. Careful, Gemini. Yeah, okay. Okay, our man has found the defensive DT button, and that is great. He was supply blocked early. This is a really good play. The only problem is he's got no detection anymore. 1 observer at home. Gemini, you've got it here, mate. F2, baby. Recall that ops, and you have all these DTs. Hey, there's no... Obviously, there is no lair, guys, so we can't even make an overseer right now. These two guys, they just don't like detection. Lurker count is dropping, though. Those DTs are getting a lot of swipes off. Little detection on the side of Gemini. No detection besides this one base for Anticore. 30 works against 27. Gemini's army is massive. I think he can do this. I think we can A-move into this. Blinding Cloud then. Blinding Cloud. Okay, the Blinding Clouds are pretty sick. How good are these Blinding Clouds? They are good. Do we have detection here? Yes, the Observer is coming in. In the back, it is safe. The Lurkers have fallen. And our American Protoss Gemini made life a little bit harder than it should have been. But he gets the job done. He ties things up. By the way, I would also like to get on the record that last week, the Big Brain Bouts, guys, the matches were 50% done by Molten. And that obviously led to a relatively one-sided night. Tonight, Roddy was back in charge. It was all me. No influence from third parties. So I expect a lot of close series today. I know last Friday we had a couple 3-0s. It was a bit one-sided, but not happening tonight. Tonight, we're going to battle, baby. No, last week was multi. Close series, he says, and he picks one with a 600 MMR or more. Oh, Moja, you're gonna sell yourself right now as a 5.5k Terran. Is that what it is, Moja? You 5'5", young Yakov 6'1". My absolute 8-Rex animal is afraid of a little Zergy. Uh-oh. Yakov is 6'4". And your 8-Rex mate is 6'5". Didn't you have Rainer on the ropes? Does SC2 have big events now? Yes, you're looking at one. In my eyes, the Big Brain Bouts is a big event. A lot of esports would absolutely kill for $500 every single Friday that you can look forward to. I'm very big into Deadlock, a game that probably currently has 80,000-90,000 players online. If you host a $500 event in Deadlock, you get the top 10 in the world playing. So, there's a lot. And yes, we also have an offline event to look forward to. It's less than a month away. If you guys want to read up on the offline event, !HSC. It is happening, of course, in very ugly Krefeld, Germany. But don't judge a book by its cover. Once you get into the book, once you get deep into Krefeld, it's honestly quite nice. Game 3. Hey, we're on 2K, by the way. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that, guys. But I think if you do !B, you'll get the entire map pool today. We have the 6 new maps. And I selected 3 maps from the past that I think are goated. Those 3 maps are Data C, Romanticide, and 2K Atmosphere. And this is 2K. Let's do it.
Round 3.
Fight.
Yeah, Krefeld is very ugly. I can't sell it in any other way. And I would like to say that it's getting better, but honestly, I kind of feel like it's deteriorating. It's getting worse. But the people that visit Home Story Cup are fantastic. Bottom left side, we are looking at the main base of our Danish Zerg. Was not ready for that Archon Immortal push in the previous game. But in my eyes was a proper Petit Drogo push. If you guys go back to some of the Home Story Cups in the past and you take a look at a lot of the PVCs that Drogo played, he would often show up with these massive armies at minute 7. I'll be like, what? At minute 7 I've got 4 Adepts and 4 Phoenixes. And Drogo is attacking with Sentries, 4 Archons, 2 Immortals, a War Prism, an Observer. Like, he says it all. This man was not ready. The Danish Zerg, Anticore. Top right side, we are looking at the main base of our American Protoss. A fun second game. Made it a little bit harder on himself, perhaps, than it should have been. But he got the dub. This is Gemini. The Zerg of all rune travel too. You know, it would actually... You know, there's a story there, Bully. Because the Zergs did dominate Homestead Cup for a long time. You know, Serral, Rainer, Serral, Rainer. Well, Rainer 2 times in a row, then Serral again. And last time, neither of them was there. So they made it a worse place. They took all the money, they left, and now they don't even show up anymore. Honestly, it might actually be because of the Zerg cabal. They came, they saw, they conquered, and they left. I do, however, expect Serral to come for the next one. He's not been announced yet, but I've got very high hopes that Serral will come to the next edition of the Home Story Cup. Do they show up this time? Yeah, I expect them to. I know they have not been announced yet. I know that my boy Rainer probably tried to make a little excuse in my DMs, and I said no. I will drag that Italian boy by his ears to Krafeld, and I expect Serral to come too. There's a very good chance that Rainer will play a couple games of League of Legends while he's in Germany. And you know what? The man is a 22-year-old boy. He's a free man, and he's allowed to play whatever the hell he wants. So, if he wants to play League, he will play some games of League. Just like there's a very good chance that Lambo will play a lot of games of Deadlock there. And so will Kalazur, and so will Elaser. And Rainer might join for a game of Deadlock. And he might play some League, but he will also participate in the Starcraft tournament. None of that is a crime. How high ranked is Rainer on League? I think he's like the Starcraft 2 equivalent of Platinum, I believe. Give or take. Depends on the day, but he's bouncing between Plat and Diamond. He's not allowed to dodge Home Story Cup. Exactly. He's a free man. He's allowed to do, and he's allowed to play whatever the hell he wants, but he's not allowed to not show. We already missed Rainer at the last Home Story Cup, and for the people who don't remember why, Rainer was still in Korea back then. And it was just a little bit too much travel to go from Korea back to Germany, back to Korea, back to Italy. That would have just not been doable for him. But this time he's coming. Yeah. I know, some people still treat Rainer like he's 15. It's like, guys, he's a 22-year-old man who has done exceptionally well for himself in life. And I think he's allowed to make his own choices at this point. Yeah, if you select 100 random 22-year-olds, you're gonna have a hard time finding a 22-year-old that's been more successful than Rainer in whatever profession. Might be one, but Rainer is literally like top 0.001%. Man has won close to like $1 million in StarCraft 2. And people still talk to him like he's 14 and he doesn't know what he's doing. It's like, maybe we should give him a little bit of respect, you know? Maybe he's also allowed to be happy. So the Zerglings were trading with Adepts on the other side of the map. Well, Gemini got a little bit adventurous with his Oracle and he lost it against the Queens, guys. So I think overall stronger start obviously for Anticore. It should also be a little bit easier for Anticore to figure out what the follow-up is going to be. Gotta give it to Gemini, by the way, as the man is coming in prepared, right? 3 games so far, 3 completely different openings. 1 Void Ray Oracle into Adept, 1 DT opening. Now Oracle Void Ray with a Zealot charge +1, so very different in that regard. What's the deal with Cyclones now? Well, we'll see Cyclones in the next series. Next series is a PvT. But I believe they've gone all the way back to the Tech Lab Cyclone of 3 patches ago. Is that correct? At least it is no longer Reactor. It is now Tech Lab required again. And yeah, they just keep on making my PvT stronger. I'm going to have a hard time making anybody believe that I am not a member of the Balance Council at this point. Sap says, great change. I mean, if people aren't happy with the Cyclone, right, let it be. You know, personally, I have an X amount of time that I am willing to spend on discussing a Cyclone in my life. And I've already gone past that twice. At this point, I'll just take it. I don't care. You know, there is going to be a moment where all of you guys are going to be like 50. I know that moment will come a little bit earlier for me than for all of you. I'm like 13 years away. And when we're 50 and we're sitting on our porch thinking about life, we'll all go over the amount of time that we have spent discussing a silly unit like the Cyclone. And we're going to regret all of it. I'm done discussing Cyclones. And Gemini is not done attacking Zerg, as he shows up with 14 zealots in total. As he really wants to get a cancel on the hatchery. But this time Anticore is more than ready. And don't forget about that Spire, guys. That Spire has finished up behind all of this. And since Gemini lost his Oracle, I don't think he's aware of it. Anticore is kind of pulling a pie over here, making it seem like he's going for something else, but then he's just hammering out a lot of roaches. 22 roaches are out, 10 more roaches on the way. And now 3 minutes. Okay. If you could pick between world... That's not how you write peace, mate. You're asking me if I want a piece of the world. Now, if I am allowed to select a piece of the world, I'll pick the Las Vegas Strip. I want that part to be me, and then I'll take all the revenue, and then I'll buy whatever card I want. Obviously, I would pick the Porsche, mate. These nerds are beyond saving. People will never have peace, even within a small, tight community like Starcraft 2. People are mean to each other. So I don't believe in that. I'm gonna pick the GT3, baby. Let the nerds fight over a Cyclone and a mothership. I don't care anymore. You're not sure of taking a piece of Vegas? Oh, that's absolutely the play. Once you have a piece of Vegas, you'll buy whatever car you want. The Mutas are going to show up in the main base, and guys, Gemini has no mobile anti-air at all. Honestly, the best thing he can do is just send it, but his army is honestly awful. Gemini is kind of getting bumped this game. He does land a couple of nice fat storms, but these are games that really have no happy ending at all for the Protoss. Where did it go wrong for Gemini in this game, Roddy? Well, we lost the Oracle. Losing the Oracle means that we weren't really ready for what our opponent was doing. Our opponent had way more roaches than he expected. So he lost a lot of zealots, he lost the Orcans, he lost the momentum, and then he was never ready for Mutalisk to begin with. This final move out obviously didn't make too much sense either, right before +2. But defending against Mutalisk when the only thing you have is Archons is very difficult. There is obviously a play where you use the War Prism's mobility to pick up the Archons and then drop the Archons near the Mutas and then try to buy some time with Storm, Cannons, Batteries, and eventually get Blink Stalkers online, but I generally think that is incredibly hard. There are Protoss players that can do that, but I think you need to basically be above 6k to pull that off comfortably. If you're below that, you're going to pick up your Archons, you're going to lose your War Prism, and then the Muta count gets too high. This was just one of these games that Gemini will look at and be like, yeah, it wasn't my game. I lost a couple units early on, lost the Oracle, didn't get much done with anything else, and the cancel on the 4th base didn't really happen. The roach count was too high. Strong game by Anticore, and honestly, out of the 6 games that I've seen these two guys play against each other right now in the last 5 days, that was by far and away the most one-sided game. So, our man Gemini is gonna have to step it up a little bit. Hello, Coco. It's a Christmas Ferris wheel, yeah. It says Merry Christmas. I can get it closer, but it's plugged in. We're starting early with Christmas decorations, baby. We went to Intratown today. And honestly, guys, Vicky is someone you have to control in Intratown. Vicky is not a lady that cares a whole lot about expensive clothes or expensive handbags or fancy restaurants, but do not set her free in IKEA or Intratown. That's where life gets a little dicey. That's what Vicky lives for. 2-1 lead, match point in our first of 4 best of 5s of the night.
Round 4.
Fight.
As we load into another proper classic, a gem, one of my favorite maps in the history of StarCraft 2. It is a Romanticide. He's down 1-2. Giazoko Daskasu, who's currently living over in South Korea. Can he turn this around to win $60 provided by Basilisk? This is Gemini. Top left side. That previous game must give him a lot of confidence, and perhaps even that second game, guys, with how incredibly bad it was looking, for him to kind of almost turn it into a game should give him some confidence as well. He may have lost the series last Monday, but he's looking good tonight. Our Danish Zerg, Anticore. Best name for an SC2 map ever? I don't know what exactly would make a great map name. I don't know if I have a favorite map name. I like simple maps, like Waterfall. I think that's my favorite. So people won't argue over how you have to pronounce it. It's just a waterfall, baby. You remember this map? A very common tactic indeed was to build something here and then float it into the corner of the main. This is, I think, also the final map of the Marine Lord against Max Spec series, where we got the legendary tweet about the better tools. Those tools are still around and they are still sharp. You don't think you played this map? This is also the map where Solar got nuked. A lot of great things happen on Romanticide. King Cobra got a couple wins over Clem on this map with a lot of shield batteries and cannons and void rays. When Max Pax played on this map against Clem, it often turned into shield batteries and cannons as well. We had a couple epic ZVZs on this map with Sorrow and Dark. I like this map. Also, this was not the one I'm thinking. Dark played a ring around the rosy with Oliveira. Burrowed. This was the map with the burrowed banelings, right? Burrowed banelings, Ghost over here. Great map. Great map, great memories. I like Romanticide. This is the map Harstem owned Max Specs on. I was thinking of that, Cobblestone. This is when Max Specs was top left and Harstem went for basically Robo into Blink stock or something like that, right? It was like Robo into Blink, and then Max Specs lost his main, but he was on his natural. Yeah, but it was actually fascinating how long Max Specs lived there. Like, that was ridiculous. Even if Harstem won that game, in my mind, that was one of these key games where I was like, Max Specs is not just good, Max Specs is beyond amazing. Because the fact that he lived for as incredibly long as he did and made this a game, like, this boy is special. That was just one of these key games for me. Obviously, Max Specs had a lot of those moments by now, but there is like a ladder of pro gamers that you go through where it's like, okay, this guy's really good, and if he plays well, then he gets even better. But this is kind of his peak. And for me, watching that game was one of these moments where I was like, man, Max Specs' peak it's not even in sight yet. Like, he's gonna get better. Romanticide is a long time ago, and it's safe to say that the kid absolutely did even get better. Gemini did a little bit of scouting with the Adepts, so nothing out of the usual. Everything is relatively standard as a roach horn has been planted down on the side of Anticore. Has Anticore been talking to Pi or something? What is this? We can get one more here. We can definitely get one more. Now we gotta be careful. We don't want to do. Oh my goodness, Gemini. I mean, I like the fact that he went for one more, because I absolutely believe there was potential to get one more, but in the end it maybe wasn't that clean. Of course, Gemini, guys, is living in Korea. These games are played on the American server, so there is a little bit of ping involved. And then on top of that, Gemini may be a very big trap fan, but he does not quite have the trap oracle movement. And that's not a burn. Trappist is really good with oracles. Follow-up is once more going to be the Resonating Glaive Adepts. Romancide is a pretty large map, but I still think it's not a bad map for Adepts. Obviously, all comes down to how prepared is Anticore going to be. So far, the man is still building drones. Hasn't really built any roaches yet. +1 missile attacks on the way. The Zerglings are going to take a little look at this triangle setup. And so far, it doesn't really see a lot. We have to keep in mind that so far throughout this series, Gemini has shown Anticore a different follow-up each and every single time, and even a different opening. So it's not that easy for a Danish Zerg to just look at this and be like, it's going to be Resonating Glaive Adept again. At this point, it's a bit of a guessing game. Makes 12 more drones. Gemini, this is the moment, right, where we're going to make a bunch of Adepts. It feels a little bit late to me. Sees the 4th hatchery coming online in the center of the map. Honestly, guys, it feels to me that Gemini's build has not been Omega clean. We are 6 minutes into the game. The drone count was 60. Now Anticore is supply block. That's obviously a bit painful. Already made a couple roaches. 6 of them, probably not enough. Let's see what Gemini is going to go for, guys. Does Gemini want to get a cancel on the 4th base, or is he looking for drones? What is it going to be? Big moment here in the series. Are we going to get our first game 5 of the night? Or is it just going to be, in the end, a relatively convincing... Use your oracles, mate. Energy, cancel, stasis, trappy, energy. Queens are going to try to obviously save this hatch, guys. Hatchery is done. The roaches could walk into a stasis trappy. That's the first one. But there is a second one, and Anticore did not see the second one. Gemini with the place, but now he doesn't commit. Gemini. I feel like that was brilliant, and that was looking brilliant, but now we're going to lose all of our adepts for 6-7 drones. I don't like it. We need a kill on this hatchery, baby, but obviously that queen has a lot of energy, is going to be able to drop another transfuse. Gemini really wants it. Anticore is not transfusing. So Gemini still gets it. Alright, we are gaming. A little bit sloppy here, guys. It's starting to get a little bit sloppy and messy on both sides. Apparently Anticore let a evolution chamber, I assume. Let something finish up here and he had to kill it. And it doesn't show because he killed it himself. So all of his roaches were stuck. And they're both supply blocked, by the way, so often. Overlord speed is on the production tab, and a drop lord is getting morphed as well. It seems like Anticore just wants to send it. By the way, the other day I had a game like this, and I told you guys, I wish that Protoss players would start using their Stargate again on a moment like this. If you are floating a little bit of money, even if it's 300 minerals, 200 gas, please build a void ray. Sure, a couple of queens will probably be brought to the other side of the map, but those queens, they will eventually fall. And if you're floating money, just build a void ray. Make some use of the early Stargate. I love the non-stop immortals, obviously, that's great. I'd love to see a battery and a backup pylon here. I mean, the Robo has a backup pylon, but Gemini is going to see it now. That is a crazy amount of roaches. The amount of roaches that Pi would look at and say, not too bad. First Ravager is gonna get picked off. Oracle will die. Please use your Stargate here, mate. I think Gemini could be fine, don't get me wrong. He's down 50 supply, but he's got immortals, he's got sentries. The Ravager count is honestly kind of low. Force fields go down. Those are good. Oh, Gemini. And the final Ravager does save a couple of them, but still excellent set of force fields. Keep building immortals, my friend. Working with a 17 worker lead. Couple of adepts, guys, on the other side of the map. Looking for a run-by, drive-by. And Anticore gives up on the Roach Queen attack. Adepts make it deep to the main base. The armies are battling as well. Gemini looks at his Protoss army and he says, I'm not afraid of a couple of roaches. Blinks forward, guns them down. The adepts are shooting at a queen in the main base, but it's all good. Seems like we are going to game 5. Last Monday it was a 2-1 victory in favor of Gemini. But it was very close and it was obvious that Anticore was having a little bit of fun. Today it is once more very close. But I can guarantee you they're not playing to have fun. They're playing for the win. $60 for a single best of 5 here as Gemini loves his army. Obviously has no observer. this man. If Gemini learns how to build observers when he needs them, as he now kind of forgets about a couple of immortals, donates a bit of his army. Okay, that was a little bit sloppy. If Gemini would always have an observer when he needs an observer, the man would be 6k. Actually be an absolute animal. Anticore has a couple of random creep tumors here. Yeah, I got a bit sloppy there, a bit messy on the side of Gemini, but I still think he's fine. He can also afford to lose a couple of immortals. No, we really have to stop eventually, Gemini. We've already lost a couple of immortals, mate. A couple is 2, it's not 3. As he's got the double robo, he's got the better economy, but he needs to stop now. We need to clean it up again. Gemini was very clean for a little while. I think he's very safe on top of this ramp with the force field, the blink stalkers, the batteries in the back. And obviously we are near our robots, which means immediate reinforcements too. Anticore rotates his army back to this 6 o'clock spot as he's going to try to get on top of a cannon, on top of a battery. Kills the cannon, ignores the battery, wants to go for the nexus. Obviously the concave is a lot better for the roaches, but I actually think this is where the stalkers can blink on top. Yeah, I like it. As long as the immortals are in range, this is a fine play, Gemini. Now don't send them back, mate. Send them forward. Gemini, let your immortals fight, please. Jeez Louise. Click them forward. For the love of everything, another Nexus is very low on HP. It will fall to the final set of corrosive balls. Like Gemini with a serious amount of anti-micro over here, guys. I legit think a move command there on the Immortals into an attack move. So like a little move command shift rally attack move. And let Jesus take the wheel, hands off the keyboard. And would have probably gone better. Sometimes we have so many great ideas as StarCraft 2 players that all of our clicking makes it worse. Blink them sideways, just anywhere. Obviously you don't want to lose all your stalkers, but as long as the Immortals are in range and able to get their shots off, you'd be okay. And he did kill a lot of roaches in the end. And we've got an observer, look at us. Cleaning up some creep, I love it. Is the battery totally useless now? No, the opposite. Batteries are actually very good. And the HP and shield change, you may look at it and be like, oh, that doesn't change much, but batteries are way tankier. So they really make a very big difference. The Ravager count is very high. I personally wouldn't hate a couple of Disruptors here against this many Ravagers, but more Immortals is fine too. Gemini moves the Immortals back. I really wouldn't be too worried. He's got +2 on the Immortals as well. Seems that our American Protoss has been hurt by roaches and Ravagers a couple of times in his life, and he shows the army a lot of respect. But he gets again so on this hedge once more, this time with DTs. These mineral patches only have 10, by the way. When are you playing in the BBB? I do not hate Canadians. Now that is a lie. I hate a lot of things in life, but definitely not Canadians. Maples is in next week. If he's available, guys, Maples is in next week. Here, on the record. And if that doesn't prove that I love Canadians, I don't know what ever will. Set of corrosive balls connect with an Archon and a Stalker. Gemini had a great time defending our Romanticide. Now he's gonna see how difficult it is to get up this ramp, but Anticore kind of moved his entire army away because there are some units attacking his 12 o'clock hatchery. It's a mix of DTs, Zealots, and Adepts. Honestly, I kind of like it. It's a little bit of everything that is good against everything. Gemini, for the love of everything, just fight, mate. Sweet baby Jesus, why is he so afraid to fight? The man's sitting here on 9 Immortals with +2, and he's running away with a couple of Roaches with +1. Name 10 Canadians? That's easy. I could name way more than 10, mate. That's not even a challenge. I'm not even going to go there. That's how easy that is. Obviously, the StarCraft 2 nicknames count, right? I would have gone with Justin Trudeau, Wayne Gretzky, and then slowly, and Jeremy, and Maples, and Hawk, and Ostoji, Scarlet, of course. I mean, so many great Canadians out there. I don't know too many famous Canadians. Isn't Anthony Davis Canadian? The player from Bayern Munich? As Anticore and Gemini are still battling, and I'm honestly a little bit fascinated that this game is still going on. Gemini has had like 4 fights in this game where if he would have A-moved and taken his hands off the keyboards, he would have wiped the floor with the army of Anticore. And instead he has made his life a whole lot harder. And now there is a couple of Hydras in the mix too, but at least his army got better as well because he's got High Templars and he's dropping some Storms, but... I think that Gemini is still totally fine. That Warp Prism in their main base, that is going to slap. As Anticore, his entire army, guys, is in the bottom right side of the map. And now he once more tries to make his way up this tiny ramp, but he's running into Storms. This time the Immortals will stand there and fight. There are some Hydras in the mix, which makes it a little bit harder, but the Immortals are good, guys. Immortals are incredibly good if they are in range and they are just able to stand there and wail away at Lord knows what. We are going to a well-deserved Game 5. Molten's matchmaking is out of the window. Roddy is back. And we're going to Game 5 immediately. Coincidence? I think not. Alfonso Davies. Yeah, sorry. That's the one I was thinking about. Alfonso. It already sounded a bit off. Yes. Anthony Davis is the guy from the Lakers who used to play for the Pelicans. I know a little. But yes, I meant Alfonso. Justin Bieber is a Canadian, that's right. I feel like Feyenoord had a Canadian as well. I can't really think of it. Roddy does the coin flip. Oh yeah. So obviously, guys, Gemini wants to play on West. Anticore wants to play on Central. Wait, who picks what? Heads or tails? Gemini. We'll let Gemini choose. Gemini says heads. Wait. Coin toss. Is it heads or tails? It's heads. Oh, Gemini. Getting the ping advantage, baby. It is heads. So, West it is. If Anticore gets to the mid game, not behind 30 workers, I favor him here. Yes, but it seems like it's pretty difficult. We are going into a new map once more. This Ultra Love map that I think is honestly pretty good for sentries. There's a lot of big choke points. It's one of the new maps that are currently live on the PTR. I've enjoyed this map. A lot of you guys love it. You say it's pretty. I refer to this map as Singularity. Hello, Mark. Will you start burning the image of a fire into your TV soon? I missed that. Yeah, it'd be very pretty, but I don't miss that. It has slowly faded a little bit over time. I can still see it, but it's not as bad as it once upon a time was. My TV is self-healing. I don't know how it's doing it, but yeah, it's not that bad anymore. It was really bad for like the first month, but it's getting less extreme at this point. So, but I'm not doing that anytime soon. Any of you guys have an OLED TV, never ever ever put a static or a similar image on it for a long time. And it should be common knowledge, but I'm a baboon. And I just thought it looked very cute. I was like, fireplace, well, casting Starcraft 2, what a great idea. Ruined a $2,500 TV, but it's all good. It's kind of fixed right now. It's not totally fixed, but it's kind of fixed. I can just enjoy football in peace again.
Final round. Fight!
In the top right side of Ultra Love, we are looking at the main base of our Danish Zerg. He looks strong in the games where he's not omega far behind after a failed attack or an attack that he didn't see coming. To his side of the map, this is Anticore. Can we get some Hydra dash action made one more time? In the bottom left side of Ultra Love, we are looking at the main base of our American Protoss, GSL Code S-Caster, a representative of all things Protoss. This is Gemini. Yeah, we started a little bit later, Eva, because I had to take a look at some of the replays of Pi. And then Indy tried to host the first game 3 times while not having the correct version of the PTR downloaded. So the moment that he loaded into the game would crash. And we were all very confused. But we have figured it out. Indy is good to go. And we are good to go. And we're not in a rush. It's Friday night. I think F1 sprint qualifying is starting soon. I am excited for updates. You guys know what I am hoping for. The best drivers to perform well. That's all. Thank you to Iba, by the way, for the raid. Our second raid tonight. I really appreciate it. Hope you had fun, Iba. Iba streams the same way that Pi carries in Deadlock. Rarely and mostly on accident. Honestly, you're giving a lot of kudos to Pi there, mate. I have played a solid 85 games of Deadlock with Pi at this point, and I am yet in search of that first game where I look at my teammate Pi and I'm like, damn, without Pi this would have been a tough one. Like, I haven't been there yet. But if you have been there, Bully, share that replay with me, because I would love to see it. As my good old Farseer used to say, seeing is believing. I have definitely not seen that yet with my own eyes. What football league cups do you watch usually? Obviously Eredivisie the most, which is the Dutch league, where I watch basically every game of Feyenoord. And for instance, tomorrow it's Ajax PSV. Like, that's something I'll absolutely watch as well. And then whenever I'm omega bored and I'm not streaming, I'll watch whatever is on. Of course, top games of Premier League, top games of Bundesliga. Like, I love watching Dortmund whenever I have the chance. Or the goal arena thing that the German television has. I think that's fun. And La Liga only like the absolute top game. Same for Italy. Like if it's like Inter against AC, I like watching that. Barca Madrid. It's not like I'm cleaning my Saturday evening for Real Sociedad against Valencia or something. So mostly the Dutch League, then Premier League, and then a little bit of Italy, Spain, and Bundesliga. I can't believe you consider that a win, Pi. That honestly, that should have been such a humbling experience for you. Playing in an official ranked game against me. And I know you really said that. You rolled up those sleeves and you're like, I'm gonna do my best against that old man. I'm gonna show him what I'm made of. And within 7 minutes, you died twice. You were down a couple thousand souls. You got completely blasted. And you're talking about this game like it was a win for you. That should have been one of these, whoa, I gotta tone it down a notch moments. Just like that little Starcraft game that we just played, you know? You're like, I'm gonna snipe Roddy on the PTR. How long did you last, Pi? 2 minutes, 45 seconds? I know that's average for you, but sweet baby, Jesus. Some men and women out there are looking for a little bit more, Pi. This is nothing to brag about. Alright, enough about Pi. Talk about Anticore and Gemini, guys. First BBB series of the night. $75 on the line, and Gemini is hitting us with a quick fleet beacon, baby. Anticore, his Zerglings win the fight against the Adepts. This be one of these moments, guys, where if Anticore would have gone for a +1 melee build, or if he shows up with like 20 additional Zerglings right now, life would be absolute hell for Gemini. Because he would not be able to go up to 3 bases forever. But since Anticore is not doing that, and obviously couldn't have really known that was the play, Gemini gets away with his very quick, potentially mothership. Do you guys think that this is maybe just like an 8-gate mothership War Prism all in? I don't think it's carriers. I think it's a quick mothership recall into the main base. We'll get to it later, Fi. I don't want to get too distracted. But you know as well as me that that was not a win, my friend. If you chums aren't supporting Gemini when he's mothership rushing in game 5, then you're dead to me. But I'm a little bit confused about it. Because it's not exactly quick carriers or Tempest. But it's also not exactly a gateway all-in. And I thought, okay, maybe we want to recall like Immortals, Sentries, and Stalkers into the main, but now we see Forge and the Twilight Council. And Blink. This is definitely a build. Game 5, $60 on the line for the winner, 15 for the loser. Gemini opens with the Jack of all trades build. Just a little bit of everything. It's a 3-base all-in. So 3-base, Blink, Stalker, Sentry, Immortal all in? Okay. Honestly, this to me is overcooking, but okay. Motherships, I gotta give it to the Balance Council. They look cooler now. Before that, they were mega slow, and there just wasn't really a whole lot to it. Look at this thing move. It looks nice. It feels nice. I'm a fan. I don't think I'm a fan of this build, by the way. 56 probes. I have often called the Roach the no fun allowed unit. And I think that Roach Hydra just completely, you know what, over this kind of a stuff. But okay. Anticore at this point has no idea what's happening. But that doesn't really have to be a big issue. As long as he's got, let's say, 3 Ravages and then just spams Roaches and Hydras, he will be absolutely cooking. Oh my goodness, Gemini, he's so beautiful and smart as he sends out a fake War Prism to then hit his opponent with the real mothership. +1 finishes up. Big old recall into the main. Where are those Ravages? We have no Ravages. Force fields are going to land on the ramp here. Aika, Ramba, Roaches. Oh my goodness, it's working. It's actually working. Anticore expected a lot of things, but he did not expect this. Gemini with the plays here in game 5. The Ravagers were not ready. Gemini is sitting on 1,000 minerals, but he's got a War Prism with this push. Anticore needs to fix his rally point right now. Get a couple Overseers. Or at least 1 or 2. And definitely not walk up this ramp with one unit at a time. Spend your pennies, mate. Pull all the drones and you can still do this. Anticore can still do this, but he needs to play it well. He needs to fix the rally point here. Take care of the force fields, pull the drones, and all at the same time. But the force fields are hurting him. I don't think these are quite the fights. Now all the drones are dying. Like caramba, the forward blink by Gemini. Honestly, might be a little bit early to make this kind of a forward blink. Oh, Gemini. But it's okay. I think Gemini is still in a really good spot. He has taken full control of the main. He should be able to kill that lair. And he still has an immortal, couple sentries in the mix. He's sitting on 1,500 minerals, but it's all good. Those 8 gateways, they won't start warping in units anytime soon. One of the more unique 3-base all-ins that you're going to see here. Immortals, sentries, stalkers with blink, and a mothership. And it's working. Gemini cooks, and he didn't overcook. It was a Michelin star dinner. Well done, Gemini. Last Monday, he won 2-1. Tonight, he wins 3-2. And what a way to win Game 5. What a way to win Game 5. Gotta give it to him, guys. That's pretty cool. Poor Anticore. I'd be fuming a little bit. Well, Protoss. It seems like Protoss nonsense is officially back on the menu. Everyone's happy, baby. That is our first of 4 best of 5s. This one was for 75 buckies. The next one is for 100. 80 bucks for the winner, 20 bucks for the losers. That is going to be a PVT. You guys believed in Gemini, and Gemini gets the job done. Next up, guys, it is Indie Starcraft. He's taking a little break of casting these games in Polish and obviously setting up the lobbies, and instead he'll be playing against the Dutch Terran player DJ, aka Jorix. Best of 5. BBB 74. I'm confused. And the split here is 80-20. So 80 bucks for the winner, 20 bucks for the loser. Do you guys believe in Indy, the Polish P? Or do you guys believe in DJ, the Dutch T? And by the way, I don't want to say, guys, that Indy is always a sweetheart, always so mannered, and is such a respected member of the community, disrespected DJ. But he kind of did. When I DM'd him, I said, Indy, since you did so well in the Kalara Statfest and the Ruddy Cup, do you want to play yourself on the Friday night? And he's like, oh yeah, of course, I always want to play. Who's my opponent? I was like, Dutch Terran, DJ. He's like, so you thermal? That's going to be hard. I'm like, no, not you thermal. It's DJ. He's like, DJ, question mark. I was like, Jorix? He's like, oh, okay. I was like, damn, Indy. The disrespect. So, spicy. Of course, as the neutral matchmaker that I am, I copy-pasted that entire conversation to DJ, who is now mega fired up to make damn certain that Indy will never forget his name again. So, I'm hyped. It's going to be fun. I'll take a 2-minute break, guys, and then I'll be back with our second best of 5 tonight. I'll see you guys soon.